Hi, it's Kirby Summers. Today is Sunday, June 1st, 2025. Well, it's officially June. It's crazy. I want to do a couple of things today. I want to sort of read some of let's say today's Substack newsletter, which by the way, I made free so that you guys can read it, because it delves into what JE was doing. And while no one has gotten a good understanding, and certainly not through mainstream, but even independent indie media has not really figured out who's who and what roles people were playing and what the end game was or what was happening. And so, for example, almost no one understands Leon Black's role. And while some people may understand Wexner's role a little bit more, it's possibly just because you're like in my Substack and you have been following my work for a long time, because it is because of stuff that I knew about Wexner that I started on this journey almost 6 years ago now. However, well, that said, my series, Deconstructing Wexner, I am making that available to the public essentially starting today. I will leave a link below. I'm having a sale for members of my newsletter. So if you're a member of my newsletter, you can get a 2-week only special sale on book one. It's a very long series, and frankly, it's not even finished. It's still ongoing. However, each book has approximately 200 pages, and it's a very deep dive on Wexner's familial history, on the, let's call it the SATANIC aspect of this organization, which, if you read the series, Deconstructing Wexner, which I've simply titled for the book, Leslie Wexner, because I don't know if people will understand that Deconstructing Wexner is just basically based on my very popular series that I began a year and a half ago, and which continues. However, it has to be sort of partitioned off into parts. And so that's what I've done. So book one is available today. And if you are a member, even a free member of my newsletter, you can get it at a discount, and the sale ends on June 15th. Now, the second person that contributed, let's use the word contributed, to the JE organization is Leon Black. I don't know how many people are really aware of who Leon Black is, other than people know that he's connected and he's the CEO of Apollo Global Management. But beyond that, other than the stuff that I've shared regarding his father, I wrote about his father many years ago when I first embarked on this. I was the first one to do so, to the point that even Wikipedia changed and added the information they did not have on Leon Black's father, Eli, who found himself flying out of the 44th floor window of the Pan Am building in 1975. Now, in the article, and again, that I uploaded, it's free. I'm going to leave a link below. I'm going to have to use code language. Regrettably, that's where we are on this platform. However, it's called the enterprise, the E enterprise. So you know that E means EPSTEIN. Sorry, sorry, sorry. But it is the name that we cannot mention for reasons that become clear, I think, to anybody who even just reads this one very free article. It will become much clearer to you as to who Leon Black is and what JE was all about. All right, I'm going to start reading this now. Combing through court documents on the JE case will yield references to the E Enterprise. The Enterprise, which conjures up images um, of the cast of Star Trek on their spaceship USS Enterprise, has a specific pattern used to maintain the S transportation operation. Participants known as employees targeted young and underage females under the pretense that they would be paid substantially merely to provide massages to JE and others. However, once drawn in, victims were then pressured, coerced, and threatened to engage in S behavior. The enterprise forced underage victims to recruit others to perform services and engage in S. Now, we know that Virginia, for example, said that she herself recruited 70 people. All of them recruited other people. We know this also through the testimony of Paul Benassi, who frankly was sent to jail because he did do something that is considered not right, but of course they targeted him, put him in jail, but put him in jail for essentially doing what they were instructed to do. Okay. So, while they were recruiting others to perform these services in the S field, some of which were more perverse than others, and it creating essentially what the lawyers called uh, a trafficking pyramid scheme. Now, that's what they called it, and that is pretty much the layer where it stays. That's where it stays in mainstream, and even with some of the, I would say with 99% of the indie media, that's where it stays. I don't think anybody goes deeper than that. So, meaning JE, paid additional money if they brought other girls. And he reportedly required three, quote, meetings per day. Now, all of this stuff needed code words. And this is in my article, meaning that a meeting was, the encounter. The massage was the actual act. And then even the word work, like a very benign sounding word, meant the S word. So the information about the victims in the enterprise, these were kept on computers. So that Virginia wrote of her time with the enterprise in her memoir that and I'm going to just read a little excerpt of her memoir. I was at my apartment when I received a phone call from J.E. I thought it was the usual call to come over to his house, but he surprised me. Instead, I would be going to the exclusive hotel in Palm Beach, the Breakers, where I would be meeting my first ever clients. So you see how she too is now calling these people clients. Okay. Only told their first names, I was given some instructions and the address where to meet Glenn and Eva. They were a married couple with one on the way. I was quite concerned when I heard she was pregnant, being I really didn't know the body that well and didn't want to inflict any wrongdoing on the unborn baby, but JE insisted I take this job. They're calling it a job, they're calling it work, but we know what it is, okay? Just massage her gently where she wants to be rubbed and save all my energy for Glenn's massage since it was going to be a 4-hour job. In an emphasized tone of voice, I was being coached by JE to treat Glenn with exactly whatever he wanted, just like I do for JE himself. It was my last bit of preparation before he sent me out to his friends, and my first taste of responsibility in upholding his reputation. So that's the end of the excerpt that I included in this newsletter again, which is free, link below. And then I'm going to continue with my article. She describes her first meeting with Glenn and Eva Dubin at the Breakers in Palm Beach. And then I go on to explain what I just explained to you about how she treats these words. In order to conceal the criminal trafficking enterprise. The girls were paid through his charitable foundations. So this is where your ears should be very wide open and you should be really paying attention because this is not your ordinary podcast. If this echoes how CIA used foundations, such as the ones established by the Rockefeller family for MK Ultra and other nefarious programs, it is because it's the same thing. However, as with the JE Enterprise, not all covert operations conducted by Rockefeller foundations have been exposed. Take, for example, the guise of improving public health and issuing humanitarian medicine. Rockefeller's International Health Board conducted activities in as many as 52 countries. A number of esteemed physicians and scientists worked on these health campaigns. Among them, pathologist Cornelius Rhodes. In November 1931, he wrote a letter to a fellow researcher complaining. Hold on one second, because I just caught a typo that I have to fix. And so, okay, I will fix that. Complaining. Puerto Ricans are beyond doubt the dirtiest, laziest, most degenerate and thievish race of men ever inhabiting this sphere. What the island needs is not public health, but a tidal wave or something to totally exterminate the population. I have done my best to further the process of extermination by killing off 8 and transplanting cancer into several more. That's a letter that he wrote and he sent to a fellow physician. And so I'm gonna just read a little bit more, and then I want you to go and finish reading this article, which is free on my Substack. So a scandal ensued when Pedro Albazu Campos, leader of the Puerto Rican National Party, obtained this, very insane letter and publicized its contents. 2 investigations into the race extermination plot were conducted. The first under James Beverly, an American attorney and politician appointed as governor of Puerto Rico by President Herbert Hoover, and the second by the Rockefeller Foundation itself. Neither uncovered evidence that Rhodes, see, I have another little, here's the thing, after Virginia's untimely passing, I haven't been able to sleep well, and I'm still trying to come to grips with it. So I wanted to drop a newsletter this morning. I did not. I didn't proof it, so I found 2 mistakes that I'm going to fix now. However, this is a very important newsletter that you should not miss. But neither uncovered evidence of wrongdoing. And of course, it's the same thing that we have seen with all of these foundations, like when Apollo investigated itself and found no wrongdoing, when Wexner investigated himself and found no wrongdoing. So instead, what happened was this was written off as a joke between colleagues, no big deal. So I am going to leave the link below. I welcome your commentary. Again, the Wexner book is on sale today. If you're a member of my newsletter, you can get that sale price. You don't have to even be a paying member. And this article is free, and it explains similarities and exactly where the money is coming from and how it's being used, and what some of the nefarious purposes that have not been explored or even discussed by anyone, literally. I mean, in order to do this kind of work, it's very important to have a very good grasp of similar, of historical things that have been documented that we can then compare and analyze. Because while I see a lot of people just repeating let's say a court document and or mainstream media narrative, I don't see a lot of people analyzing and doing what needs to be done in order to break this open so that all of us can see what I see and what sort of, I've known for a very long time. Well, that said, I hope you guys have a really good Sunday, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.